is just giving gift and receiving gift. Now that Christmas has become so commercialized that guess what we do? We go out, we spend a lot of money. Like sometimes we max up our credit card just to buy somebody something.
All right, that's right.
Oh, come on now. A lot of you, and not nobody ever read, but a lot of us, some of us, even in other churches, guess what we're going to do? We're going to go home and we're going to exchange different people, but guess what? We come to his house and we don't give him all.
All right.
Matter of fact, some people don't even come to church on this day because they want to celebrate Christmas. But how can you celebrate Christmas and don't come to our house and go at the morning we forget what we really come to church for. When we come to church, we come to celebrate. We come to use God to speak well of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And we do that every time we come to church. We do that every time we should go into work. We should always speak well of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So I know that it ain't about what you get, it ain't about what you give. It's about what you give to God. What is your prayer? Basically, Christmas is just where we reflect on the greatest gift that we receive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And worship is simply giving back to God.
Yes, sir.
Giving back to God in our service. Giving back to God as we draw nigh unto Him. And as we look at the text, like I said, I won't be long. You can bang on me. You can get ready to go break some coffee. So I want to just glean a couple of points out of the text, and I promise y'all sit down. In this text, we find out some true things about worship. And I believe that this is things that we should learn ourselves. First of all, we're going to find out today, in today's time, our worship needs to be personal.
All right. Yes, sir.
Our worship needs to be personal. What do we give to God today on His birthday? The greatest gift that we can give Him is our worship. It is our worship. Why do you say that, Pastor? Because the Bible tells me about these three wise men, and it's believed it was more than that. But these wise men knew about Christ's coming. And they made up their mind that they was going to travel to the east and see Him. They were going to travel far and great distance to see the King called Jesus Christ.
Right.
They were going to come to see this little baby that was born King of the Jews. They was coming from a long way. Why is that so significant? Because it was personal worship, but because they made up their mind that they were going to go.
Right.
Oh, I know it sounds so simple. You have to realize they came hundreds of miles.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He didn't even come 2 or 3 miles to the church. But they came hundreds of miles. It took months for them to come. It only take us 10 to 15 minutes to go. They came hundreds of miles to worship God. I don't know, are you willing to come and worship? It was personal because they didn't let nobody interfere with them come to worship.
Yes, sir.
The reason it was personal, Sammy, is because guess what? They didn't let nobody hinder their worship.
Yes, sir.
Matter of fact, when Herod learned what he was going, they knew he was going to try to kill the child, but they did not let him hinder their worship.
All right.
I don't know, y'all. When we come to church, when we come to worship, it was so good to see Brother Hugh sing that song. Amen. Worshiping God. Amen. He motivated me to sing that song. But what I'm saying is that when I saw him, it was an expression of worship. He didn't worry about what somebody thought about him. He was worshiping God. I'm telling you, your worship got to be personal. Not only do your worship got to be personal, but your worship should start in the private. Oh, how do you know that? Because the reason a lot of y'all, the reason a lot of other churches, not y'all, but these people in the other churches, the reason that they don't worship in public is because they don't have a private worship. You can tell who got a private worship life, how they worship in public. I can look and see, not in here, not me. I don't know why I keep taking my child. But when I look around and see some people in other churches I preach at, I see how they sit down and don't worship. I see how they sit down. And when I see how they sit down and don't worship, it brings to mind to me that they must not have a private worship. How do you know, Donald? How do you know? Because if you got a private worship, it'll show in public. That's it. If you got expression of praise in private, it'll show out in public. But not child. observe, we pat our feet. And I don't see y'all patting your feet. But I know there's something got an outward sign of worship.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I remember because we went to the basketball game in Atlanta. Joe, you remember when all them guys, and I know Greg was one of them, everybody, when they shot the ball, they saw me there. They were excited. All of them. I think the only person that moved was, what's that brother Jesse? He's the only one that really didn't move, but all the other brothers, they were just worshiping. You know, oh man, when they went down the court, the guy got up and clapped. Man, yeah. And I said to myself, yeah, I see this. Because the very same guy that was worshiping that basketball game, they come to church and they sit down like that. I ain't talking about bread. Take what I say. Sometimes, y'all, that should be a sign of an outward worship. It's an indication that you have a private worship life. And I want to tell you, going into next year, if you do anything, get a private worship. You get a private worship. And like I said earlier, private worship means that guess what? I magnify God. I make his name great. Because when we do worship in private and you make his name great, guess what? Everything else that is big to you becomes small.
Yes, sir.
When you magnify God. Now I want to tell y'all last week when me and Greg and Joe was on the church preaching, guess what? We was his worship team. Amen. Me and Greg was his worship team. Greg said, now I'm going to move that worship. We was his worship team. And I know Greg was patting his foot, but we was his worship team. Why? Because we recognize that guess what? It shows on the inside.
Yes, sir.
What can I get, God? Pastor Bob? You can give me a worship.
Yes, sir.
They had an inward worship, but not only did they have an inward worship, but it showed by the excitement they had. It was emotional worship. It was emotional. And I'm going to tell you, when you got to worship, what it's going to do, it's going to cost you something.
All right. Amen.
See, when we think about Christmas, we going to spend our money. Guess what? It's cost us so. But anyway, there should be something inside you that costs you to worship.
Oh, yeah.
When we think about these wild men, they left their home, they left their family to go and worship God. They didn't have no cell phone and say, you know, mom, wife, I'll be on next week. They was going for months. Their whole purpose for going to see this baby was to worship him.
Right.
Our whole purpose for coming to church is to worship him.
Yes, sir.
Now, so you have to understand that when they went to this king, they gave him 3 gifts. But I want to let you know that guess what? We should do this every day. See, we don't have to give him gold. They gave him gold. We don't have to give him frankincense. They gave him frankincense. We don't have to give him myrrh.
Yeah.
We have to give him our worship.
Yes, sir.
They gave him our gift that he needed. We got to give him the other gift that he wants. It's our worship.
Amen.
They came from a long way. They brought their church. They came on a long journey. It was dangerous. But when they got there, they opened up their treasure and they presented him.
Yes, sir.
I'm afraid that we come in church so casually that when we come in, we don't even recognize that we're in the king's house and we present him with him.
All right. All right.
What is your gift when you come to the house of the king? They presented him. And worship is not something that just happens. Worship is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Your life should reflect the way you worship God.
Wow.
Worship is a lifestyle. I want to know how many of you got worship as a lifestyle.
All right, sir. Yes, sir.
Like I said, they came from a long way. They spent a lot of time, y'all. They spent a lot of time trying to get to the place we were. How many of you spend a lot of time trying to get up in the morning time to go to that place of worship? To go to that place of worship. What are we going to present God for this year and come into next year? We present our worship. We give him something. We give him a gift like Elder Hill gave him a gift. We give him a gift like Mr. Potts gave him a gift. We give him a gift like Greg gave him a gift. What are the gifts that they gave? I remember Mr. Potts was on my job and she was telling me about the people that she witnessed to that got saved. I remember Elder Hill when she went out of the country and there was a couple that she ministered that got saved. I remember how great minister to a brother got saved and got baptized. Guess what the gift they gave God at this year?
Yes, sir.
They introduced somebody to him.
Yes.
That is the great gift.